Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. It's good to be here. Are you ready for today's class? Awesome. So, today's class is integrated development environment. And in last class, I know you talked about programming paradigm. And in that programming paradigm, there was something called functional programming. So today, we are going to be going through what you learned in your last class and building on it. Awesome. Okay, so in today's class, we are going to be talking about integrated development environment. And we're going to cover introduction to integrated development environments, which I'll simply call IDE. We will also do some hands-on IDE setup. We will also install some extensions for our IDE. Do some mini projects, which will include debugging and linting practices. And there will also be a venue for Q&A. Awesome. Is anybody ready for today's class? In simple terms, it is basically an integrated development environment, right? And it is a software application that somebody somewhere has developed that gives you a comprehensive facility as a programmer to help you in your software development. And it includes combination of code editor, debugger, compiler, and so much more. Okay, why use an IDE? Why do we need it? We need it to boost our productivity with tools. Like auto-completing, and when you want to refactor, which we are going to go through in this class. You're going to see more about that and how it is being done. It also helps you to simplify debugging when you are using some integrated tools. There's so many instances that you have when you will have an error and you will not know what is happening and what the issue is. But then this debugging tool can help you to figure it out by getting each point of the code and understanding what you need to do and seeing if that part will run or not. It also streamlines your build and run processes because you can actually run directly from the terminal. It also improves your code qualities with the linters that we have and the testing tools. Those linters can always underline if you type something wrong or if you do not type it in the right format. Some linters are even available that when you have in your definition of classes for your um, TypeScript and your Tailwind CSS that you define the TypeScript the classes, you will realize that if you have two classes, there are some linters that you can install that will underline it and say no, this two means the same thing, and so you should remove one. So it helps you in terms of your code quality. It can also serve as testing tools. Okay. Now, there are two different type of things that we have that you can use to actually code. We have the IDEs and we have the text editor. The IDEs, they require extension and they have so many features that are full featured tools. But then if you take a look at the text editor, it's different. These ones are highly customizable. You can customize it into whatever format you want. And they are very lightweight and very simple. Some of you might have seen Notepad, and some might be aware of Sublime Text. Those are examples of text editors. And examples of IDEs are VS Code and PyCharm. And I'm happy to tell you today that we're going to be working on VS Code more. Apart from these IDEs, we have so many IDEs by their languages. Take, for example, JavaScript. If you want to write JavaScript, or you want to write TypeScript, or you want to write any web application, most of the time you can use VS Code. You can also use WebStorm. Every IDE has their areas of specialization. IDE is Integrated Development Environment. Okay. We also, for Java, we have IntelliJ and Ellipse. So for people that want to write their code in Java language, it is advisable to use these IDEs because they are designed for that purpose. And using the best IDE for the purpose which you are doing makes it easier for you as a software engineer. You can also use Ellipse for Java. You can use ellipse. There are several ways you can get this. You can download. If you just search online and search for ellipse or IntelliJ, you will see how to install all of them. However, in this class, as I said earlier, we will be focusing on JavaScript and web, solely VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Likewise, we have Python. If you have VS Code, you can also use it for Python. And you can also install PyCharm. So these things are advisable when you are installing Python. Now, what about C++? For those using C, it is advisable to use Visual Studio or C Lion. I would advise you note these points so that when you get to the point of selecting the language you want to use, you can always know the right IDE to use for your specific language to make life easier for you. Okay. Now, in the last class, I'm aware that you were told to download Visual Studio Code. In the comment section, can you confirm that you have downloaded the Visual Studio Code? Visual Studio, I'm reading a comment on the chat, and someone is asking if Visual Studio is also Visual Studio Code. No, they are two different things. Visual Studio is used for C++, while VS Code is used for JavaScript and Python. Good. I can see that a lot of people have downloaded it. Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay. For those who have not downloaded it, the link is on the screen, code.visualstudio.com. Great, great. Everybody has downloaded it. That is fantastic. All right. Now, can you confirm you have installed the Visual Studio Code? How many of you have installed it? Please type in the chat session, yes, I have installed it. And I have something like this on my laptop. So if you see my screen, you will see what I have. Do you have something like that on your laptop? I installed it already. Great. I love this class. I love this class. Awesome, awesome, awesome. If you have not downloaded it, I am going to share the screen again so you can download it. I can see someone in the chat session saying they've not downloaded it. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to look at the link on the screen and download it because you are going to need it in this class. I am reading a message from Eunice, you cannot download it on your mobile phone. It's not advisable. It's for your laptop. And I'm sure that was a criteria for having this class. You need a laptop to install this. Chimelo, if you don't have something like that on your screen, but you have installed it, try to open the application. Awesome. 2 minutes is over. Let's move on. So, in case you have downloaded it and you are yet to install it, download from codevisualstudio.com and then run the installer and add to the path. It is a pretty straightforward installation, which most people have done, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time on that. And for Mac, you download the zip or DMG file and drag it to your application. The third option is optional if you want to install Homebrew. Okay, I'm glad everyone has installed it. So we are going to be moving to the next on the agenda, which is to configure the settings. There are two ways of doing it. As a software engineer, it is advisable to use command lines. So I want you to open this view that I have. I want you all to have this view that I have. And how do you do it? You go to your application, that place where you have the icon of Visual Studio, click on it, and it will open this view for you. To open something like this. I have this view because I already have some things that I'm working on, and that's why I have recent. So your view might not be exactly like this, but it will look like this. This is the view for the Visual Studio Code. Okay. I can increase so you can see clearly. Let me know when you can see it clearly. And what I clicked to increase the screen, the view, is Command and plus. I am using a MacBook and I'm using Command and plus. Yours, Windows will probably be Control plus, something like that. Please confirm you can see my screen. I have increased the font to a bigger font. On Deborah, on your keypad, type command, click on command plus at the same time. I am showing you this view. And instead of showing the small size, I decided to increase it. Yes. Control plus. Thank you, Ronnie Black. It's Control plus for Windows. For MacBook, it is Command plus. So you can just increase the fonts. Great. Now that we have gotten to this point, you might want to configure some of your settings. And one of the easiest thing to start with is word wrap. In the chat section, can you tell me what you understand by word wrap? Someone tell me what you understand by word wrap. Someone tell me what you understand by word wrap. Great. Make your word go to the next line. I am reading a message from Abimbola. Should we click new file? Not yet. I will let you know when you should click the new file. This is a workshop, so just follow along with me as I'm doing it. Great. Thank you, Emmanuel. Making all the content fit into the display screen. Good. Yes, Peter, you're correct. So your word won't scroll past the line. Interesting. Now we want to try to implement that functionality on this Visual Studio Code. How do we do it? On my screen, you can see where the arrow has click here. Can you see where the arrow shows click here? That gearbox. The arrow is pointing to a gearbox. Please respond in the chat if you can see the arrow. Click here. We are currently on Visual Studio Code. You don't have to download all those ones except you need them. For this class, we only need Visual Studio Code. Yes, follow it. It is the settings button. So on my screen, you can see the arrow click here is pointing towards the gearbox, which is the settings button. Great, great. I am taking it slowly so that everyone can, at least, I want to have like 70% or 80% following me as I am doing the class. Okay, so now that we have this, if you click on the gearbox, you are going to have a little box that comes out, which has the command palette, profiles, settings, extensions. Now click on the settings. As you can see, it will show you the short code to use. Here we have the command and the comma sign. On Windows, it will probably be control and comma. So instead of you clicking on the gearbox, you can directly just click on command with comma, command and comma together simultaneously. I am reading Owusheni's comment on the chat. Nobody will ask you to pay 10K for it. Earlier in this class, we already shared the link where you can download it. Someone in the class can help to share the link to him again so he can catch up with it. Now, if you click on that settings, it will show a settings tab on your screen. Can anybody see the settings tab on the screen? Please confirm in the chat section. Right, I have the settings tab. I have the settings tab. I have the settings tab. Okay, great, great. Now let's type word wrap. Once you type it, you will see that it will bring the details down here. Someone in the chat, Femi, you are lost. At what point are you lost? Right now, all you have to do is go to your Visual Studio Code and on your keyboard, type command, comma, like comma, command and the comma symbol. And it will take you directly to this view, this settings page. Or you click on this gearbox and click on settings and you will see this view. Once you're on this page, type word wrap. I'm reading a comment from Georgina. If you already have VS Code before, you might not do this. It depends on you. It's just showing you the things that you can set. You can set your user, so many things you can do. You can set your workspace. Awesome. So on this thing, you can see control how lines should wrap. Word wrap is default off. And so if the text are wider than the screen, you will have to scroll. Take for example this view. Can everybody see my screen? This word wrap, I have to scroll to the right side. However, if we come back here and turn it on, what happens? Can you see that it has taken it to the next line and there's no wrapping here, there's no scrolling here anymore? Good. Because you're a beginner, it is advisable to do things that you can focus on. And that is why it's advisable to have this word wrap. It is not compulsory if you don't want it, but it helps you to be able to see everything, especially when you are debugging. Okay. There are so many other things you can do. You can edit your terminal. You can edit so many things on this settings page. Okay. Now, let us go to the essential extensions. One of the reasons why we are using IDE is because of the beautiful extensions it has. We have prettier code formatter. And to open your extension, press Command Shift X. Command Shift X or Control Shift X if you are using Windows. Command Shift X, Control Shift X. I am reading the comments and Ayo. Yes, it is true. You can also see the word wrap if you click on view. Let me quickly show you that before we go. So here is the view on the top left of your screen. When you click on it, right here you have the word wrap checked because we already edited it in the settings. Can everybody see the word wrap that is checked? Thank you for bringing us to that. Thank you. You can also edit here the appearance. If you want to put it in full screen, if you want to have this preview, you can see my screen. It has a preview here, right on this right panel. You can turn off the preview if you like. Click on that icon, this icon here. I'm going to do it again. These three dots at the top right. And once you click check, that will disable the preview editor. You can also, one of the things I love here is also to pin a particular file to the first. So right here, I can just right click and then I can pin this particular tab. I can pin that particular tab such that even if I have 15 tabs opened, which will not fit into this view, right? This one will stay in the place where I pinned it. Just like pinning your tab on your Chrome browser. It is, I'm seeing a message from Jeremiah. It is word wrap, not word map. Wrap, like shawarma wrap. Wrap. Word wrap. What we are currently doing right now is we are on Visual Studio Code. And I'm showing you the settings you can have to make your life easier. You can always go back and view the class. Okay. Please, can I have those who know where we are currently? We have not done anything so far. We are still setting up our workshop. what you can do, if you cannot manage the screen with your video, you can always watch it from your phone and then use it on your laptop, work on your laptop. And if you're using a MacBook, you can merge the two screens in halfways. So I'm going to have a brief time to just wrap up what I've been saying, right? And that is, you click on settings after you have your Visual Studio Code installed. Click settings. When you click the gearbox, which is the one on the bottom left corner, you click settings, and then you have your text. You can type whatever you want here, and it will give you so many options. You can keep scrolling down without typing. You will see so many things that you can do on this screen. So word wrap is just one of the configurations you can do, right? Great. Great. And that was when someone mentioned on the chat that you can also click view to do the word wrap. Right. Okay. So these are just the things you can do to help your life and make it easier. You can do auto indent, you can do language defined, right? You can do so many things, code action on save. Great. Now, moving on to the extensions. We have Command Shift X or Control Shift X if you are using Windows. So Command Shift X would automatically open my extensions for me. Command Shift X or Control Shift X. Command Shift X or Control Shift X. Awesome. And by so doing, you will see this little box here where you can type in prettier. Has anybody typed prettier? Can you confirm you have typed prettier on the extension marketplace? Great, 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 great. Good. So prettier is a code formatter. What it does is just make your code beautiful. There's a layout to which you should have your code. When you are typing, once you save, Prettier can help you automatically set it to how it's supposed to be. Take, for example, Python. If you don't write it the proper way, a tab can cause your code not to run. It can be very frustrating. And in order to avoid that, this is why it is advisable to install code formatters for your respective IDEs immediately you are installing them. One, it makes it beautiful, it makes it readable, and it helps you to be able to debug instantly. Now, let us click on the second one, prettier, code formatter. Once you click on it, you will see I have already installed it, and that is why it is showing uninstall on my own. But you can click install. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to click on install. And once you're done, please type installed on the chat section. Great, 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 great. I have awesome people in this class. Wow, wow, I'm impressed. Well done, guys. Okay, now, um, I have a message from Abimbola. It is not working. What are you doing? Can you type what you did and the view you currently have that is not working? If you have a slow network, it could be delayed a bit. Yes, prettier on my screen, you will see that I selected this. I have the cursor on it. Prettier code formatter. Great. A lot of people have installed, but I would like to know the challenge that Abimbola is having. Do you want to restart your Visual Studio Code? Abimbola, probably restart your Visual Studio Code. It is not supposed to show XHR field. Okay, moving on. After we have installed it, we can also install ESLint. ESLint. As you can see, I have it already. What does it do? You can always take a look at the documentation. This is simply for linting purposes to help you if you are doing it right, if you have typed the right thing and you have done the correct thing that you're supposed to do. And if for any reason you have a duplicate or you have typed something that is not in the JavaScript format, in the ES6 format, what happens is it will underline it, just like it has underlined this lint here. Good, good. ESLint is this first one. I have put my cursor on it for you to get it done. When you're done, please type installed so we can move on. Okay, great, great, great. Now we can also go ahead to do open in browser. This is useful for when you quickly want to preview something on a browser, especially HTML files. Now, I'm going to be mentioning something that you'll be doing later, which is most emails are always in HTML files, HTML sample. When you get a mail, that mail that you're getting has an HTML view that has been incorporated into the system. So what if you want to design HTML view later? What do? You can always preview your HTML immediately using an extension called open in browser. So let's go ahead now and type open in browser. What comes on? It is this first one. Please click on the first one. I have my cursor on it. Let me know when it is installed. Open in browser extension. Once you have installed it, please type installed on the chat. Great, 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 fantastic. Okay, now for this opening browser, we are going to do a little example. I have my HTML file available. If you don't have an HTML file, don't worry. You can always just type doctype HTML, then just look at my screen. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. We can just do a little bit of things today where we will have this view that you can see on my screen. Okay. So I want you to type doctype exclamation mark doctype in capital letter HTML. Create a new file. You have to create a new file. File, new file. And you don't have Node installed already, so just create a new file. It's fine. Just create a new file. Control N, we also do it. It is easier when you use a shortcut when you are typing. It helps you a lot. So Control N will create a new file. Once you create the file, save it. Format. You will see HTML. Click on it. There are several ways you can do that. You can also, in your terminal, do touch. If you open your terminal, which is on your top left corner, so there are so many ways you can do it. You don't have to follow one style. It's whatever works for you. But I'm telling you all these ways so that you can pick the one that is easier for you. So the one you feel easier, just go ahead with it. First, you have to click terminal, new terminal. That will open a new terminal for you, and you can go ahead and type touch. Example.html, and you press enter. And automatically you have it on your left side of the screen. The terminal is on your top left side. On your Mac is on your top left side. On your Windows, is somebody type where it is on Windows. It's somewhere like that as well. Let me know if you've seen your terminal. You can also do Control Shift back tick to open a new terminal. Control Shift back tick on your MacBook. Exactly. Exactly. Great. Great. So it is best to just follow your laptop and see where you can open the terminal. Great. Great. Thank you, Mantle. Mantle has seen it. Awesome. So now we have the new terminal. When you click on it, it shows, it opens something like this underneath. And then you can just do touch space the name of your file, whatever name of your file it is. It could be, but today we're going to be doing example.html. Now, when you have that example.html, you will automatically see it in your workbook. And how do you see that place? It is on the first icon on your workbook, on your Visual Studio Code. The first icon, which is the Explorer, you will see all the files in your folder. Oh, for those who are using Windows, has anybody been able to create a new file from the terminal? For Windows, you can simply just file, new file, and then create it, save it, and append HTML to it. Okay, if you don't have a folder, open a folder, create a name, probably call it workbook, and then in that folder, create that file. Then open it with Visual Studio Code. I'm going to take it again. Create a folder by typing file, new, and then add your file to it. The normal way you save a file, you can go to your view and then click new file. So there are so many ways you can do these things. You can go to your view and do on your normal system, create a folder. The name of the file, let us call it example.html. What we are trying to do is to see how we can preview an HTML file. The terminal you have, I'm reading a message from Michael. The terminal is only PowerShell. Yes, you can use PowerShell as well. For Windows, you can use Command R. Windows R. Windows R will open where you can now type If you open Windows R on your Windows R, then you can now type CMD, which will open like your command palette for you, where you can type. So it's not only PowerShell that you have. How do you create a new file? It is really on my screen. File, new file. Okay. If you have your new file and you have opened it on VS Code, please type file on the chat. If touch is not recognized, you can still use file, new file. On my screen, I have opened it and you can see file, new file, where you can just click. Very good. I see some people have done it already. Great. For those who have done it, please, you can do well to um, assist those who are yet to get it. If you're using Windows, type what it got. If you're using Mac, type what it got, so everybody can be carried along. If it is not showing on your folder, that simply means you saved the file in a wrong place. Great. Now that we have the file, let us try to type a little thing like preview.html. So I'm going to have doctype HTML. Awesome. Can anybody see my screen? So now you can have your HTML tag. Okay. Then the next thing is to type the head. Now, in this case, if we had not installed that word wrap, what will happen is this zero here will have been inside and we'll have to scroll out. But now we have it all in one piece. That was the essence of the word wrap that we did earlier. Now, can you go ahead and type what I have on my screen to your example.html? Great. Now, what we did was just to add the doc type, the HTML, the head, and the body. This is a simple HTML file. There's no cabs, there's no issue with it. Now, right click on the file. For an HTML file, you must have the HTML, the head, and the body. And then inside it, you have whatever text that you want to have. This is a simple one that I'm creating for this app. Awesome. So if you right click, you will see, because you have already installed code open in browser, because you have already installed open in browser, what happens is when you right click on it, you will click on open in default browser. And what automatically happens is what? You will see your hello world like a preview. All right. So I have another view that I also worked on, which I also can right click. And then when you click open in default browser, this is the view that I have. So any HTML file that you find, you can just open it and click on preview and it comes back. Awesome. Now, you also have JIT lens. This will be useful when you install your JIT. And so we're going to skip that for now. Okay. So this is another way you can check your extension instead of using the shortcut. Now it's time for the 5 minute break where you can take your attendance and go through what we have if you need to catch up. So we'll come back after 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, I'm sure everyone has filled in their attendance sheet now. Now we're moving to the tougher part. We just left the simple part. Okay, all right. Now we're going to talk about NVM. We're going to talk about Node. So to install Node, I always advise to go for NVM. And why are we choosing this NVM? If you install Node alone, you can always just have that version only. But if you install NVM, you can change between versions of Node. Let's say you're working on a project and you have Node 20. If you have NVM, all you just have to do is a command on your terminal and it installs Node 20 for you immediately. Okay. Now, what are the benefits of the version management? It helps you to switch your version seamlessly. So let's assume you want to do a project that the minimum is 18. Just go and do NVM use 18 and you're back to version 18, just like that. And if they say it is 22, just do NVM use 22 and you are up to 22. So it helps you to switch in seconds, which saves you time. And as a software engineer, you must learn to work smart and not work hard. So while working hard, you're making sure you're smart about it. Node version management. So now there's no admin privilege. You don't have to do sudo something something. No, you don't need it. Even when you want to uninstall, it is sweet. And you can have multiple npm version management as I mentioned earlier. All right. So I can install node 18, node 20, node 22, and I can switch between any one of them. Okay. Now, why do we need to install Node Version Management? It's a cross-platform management app. It is easy for version switching, and you can also isolate the environment. Now, this is where the interesting part comes. On my screen, you will see how you can download for Mac and for Windows. So, the official NVM is to run this on your terminal. So, for Windows, just go to https://github.com, Cory Butler, NVM Windows releases, and download. All right. Well, for Mac, I would advise you look at this very well because this is very important for the next of the few minutes we have left in this class. I'm reading a message from Peter. Is it the same as Node.js? Exactly. You are installing Node. But instead of installing one version of Node, we want to be able to install so many versions. So I'm going to give us 3 minutes to look at the link on the screen. and run this. For Mac, it is very easy. All you have to do is this one and open your terminal. This is my terminal. Open your terminal and then run this. This is my terminal. So this particular one, coil dash 0 dash https raw github user content.com /nvm-sh /nvm v0.39.7 /install.sh space stroke space bash. So look at my screen. If you are using Mac, copy this. If you are using Windows, download from here. Awesome. So I'm gonna give us extra 1 minute to look at this and see how we can download it. If you copy that one on your Mac terminal, what happens? I'm gonna press enter and then we'll see what happens. It says NVM is already installed. I'm increasing the size so everyone can see. Because I already have it. But in case, no, if you already have Node, then that is fine. But if you have NVM, it's just like having varieties, an option for varieties. There's no way you will not do. I'm reading a message from Abimbola. There's no way you will not use terminals. Like it's like your go-to. It's like a farmer with a cutlass. You will always use it. Yes, for Windows is a GitHub repo. Even for this one is a GitHub repo. If you look at it properly, you will see that we have GitHub user content.com. Okay. Please let me know if you now have access to this view. Has everybody downloaded it? Link for window is not working. What is it saying? Let's try it. It is working here. github.com slash Corey Butler slash NVM NVM CentOS exe. It's right there. Can you see it? It is the exe file. Let me know if you have the link so we can move to the next page. All right. Okay, great. All right. Now, I will assume that everybody already has this or they have Node installed. You can also install Node directly, but this is very easy to do. Now, for the setup, after you have installed on it, you can do nvm install lts directly. Okay, that's like the stable version. All right. You can as well set your default version as well. And all these things are what you use in your terminal. So let's take, for example, I want to know my Node version. I will come to my terminal and type. Can you see? I have 22. So that is how you can check the version of Node that you have. If you don't have Node, then you have to install either NVM or you install Node directly. Okay, this is for Mac installation. NVM install the version that you want. And then you can use node dash dash version to check the version that is installed. For Windows, after you have downloaded that exe and then you have installed it on your system, you can go to your command line, you press Windows R, it shows you that little thing that comes up, then you type cmd, it opens your terminal. Once it opens your terminal, then what happens? You can just check for the Node version as well, the way I did. Node space dash dash version. You might need to run your terminal as an administrator if it's needed. Okay, good. I can see that Peter's version is Node 20. Great. Let me see your version. When you've already typed node dash dash version, let me see the version that you have. Let me see your version. If you're lost, don't worry. You can always replay this class and you will get it. The NVM is not working. I saw a message from Favor saying the NVM is not working. After downloading it, open your terminal. Okay? Very good. Nice. I can see people's version coming up. Great. Great. Lovely. Lovely. I did not say npm install LTS. It is NVM. NVM. Very good. I can see people's version. Awesome. Awesome. Great. Lovely. Fantastic. Okay. Now, great. Let's move on to the next class, next slide. And in the next slide, you can now here you can switch your versions, and it works on the same thing for both Windows and MacBook. You can just do nvm install 20, whatever version you want, or you can use 18. And when you install, then you can use it. If you have been using npm, then it's totally fine. If you have Node already, you can just look at this class and install npm if you want. Because there are some packages that don't work for some Node versions, and that is why it is advisable to have nvm so you can switch your versions based on what you want. If you have the nvm already, you can also do nvm list to check the list of things that we have. Okay. All right. Okay. Awesome. Now let's go to the features that we'll be using today. I'm sure some people will be surprised. We're not done. So now we're going to be trying to use our Visual Studio Code for linting, debugger, integrated terminals, extensions and plugins, debuggers, and Project Explorer. Interestingly, debugger was typed twice because there's an emphasis on that debugging. I remember 7 years ago or 8 years ago when I had an error on my app, and it was actually comma. That app did not run for hours because of comma. You still have features. Yes, you still have features. I'm seeing I'm seeing somebody's joy. Yes, you still have features today. It is a workshop. It is not a lecture class. Okay. And that comma, as I was saying, made my day. And I will never forget. And assume if there was something that could help me with the debugging, it will have been very easy for me. So that is why debugger is very, very, very essential. Okay. Now we are going to the live coding task. Here we'll be doing something light. Okay? Somebody type I am ready in the chat session. I am ready. Awesome. I'm reading Desmond's message. If you have Node, you don't have to install it. It is a nice to have, but you don't have to install it because you already have what it takes for this class. The next thing we want to do now entails us having Node, so it will be nice to have. But if you have Node already installed, then do not worry about NVM for now until when you really need it. But I advise you to know it now. It makes your life easier. All right, today I'll be talking about creating a new file. We use the terminal to run it. We've talked about terminal already. We'll set a breakpoint and debug, and then we'll modify and rerun with debugger. Okay. Now, let us go to our VS Code. We're going to launch the app. So mkdir is simply for creating, make a new directory. So in order to do this, on your Windows, as we normally do, Windows R, we open a view where you can type CMD. And with that, you can have your terminal. And on that terminal, CD into the directory that you want, just the way we have CD LO app. So I'm going to be showing you my terminal. Okay. I can do CD document. Right. And this will take me to the folder that I want. Okay. Now, if you want to clear your own terminal, you can just type clear and everything will be cleared. You can use PWD to check your directory. CMD in small letter, not P. C for cap, M for monkey, and D for dog. CMD. And that is on that view when you do Windows R on your Windows. But for your MacBook, all you just need to do is open your terminal like I have it here, and then CD into the directory that you want. Awesome. Okay, so let's move on. When you are on that terminal, type mkdir LO app. When you have created a directory, please say directory. mkdir space lo-app will take you to the directory. We'll create the directory for you. And cd lo app will get you into the directory. If you have done it, please type directory. Okay, great. Now that we have cd into the directory, we can type touch app.js. To get the list of your files in Windows, it is dir. So you can see the folders that you have in a particular folder. And then you can cd into the folder that you want. For MacBook, it is touchapp.js to create a file. Okay? But if you cannot create the file on Windows, what you can do is go straight to code dot. Just type code dot in your terminal and it will open that particular folder that you have on Visual Studio Code. Let's try it. Okay. What is the name of this my folder? Workshop. And here inside this folder, if I type code, let me know if code dot works for you. Good. Somebody said code dot worked for them. Great. Awesome. Awesome. Can you see that you're switching views without even trying to check or stuff like that? Great. I'm glad we're now here. Okay. Now we're going to write a simple, interesting code. Who is excited? In your last class, when you learned programming paradigm, remember they taught you functional programming. And there was something like this in your class. Today, you are going to type this on your app yourself. Remember, we have a file called app.js, right? Okay. So let me go here and do, and voila, I have the JS file right here. Awesome. Awesome. Now that you have your app.js file, please let us type this function. Can anybody see my screen? Awesome. Now we are typing our code. In your function, what we want to do is we want to write a script that can print out hello, whatever we print. And if for any reason we don't put any argument, we want it to be able to type, replace that thing with word. So let's assume I put node example.js name. It's supposed to print out hello name. Okay. It is important that you have node. If not, you cannot proceed with this. All right. Now, what did we have here? We have a variable called there are two ways of writing this thing. You can use a backtick and then your name variable, or we can directly use the way it is in this code. If you see my code, you see that I have the name plus that thing, or we can have it this way. Those are the two different ways to write it. Okay. All right. Now, I intentionally added a console.log to the next line so we can see what it's printing out. And I wrote it in a different way. But when we're logging, since we already have the value here, that is why here we made use of that variable. We call it a variable name. So we don't have to repeat hello name. We will just say what? Replace it with message. Now, can anybody notice that we have something here underneath here that is like dotted line under the message? It's linked. Linked is telling you that that ES link that we installed earlier is telling you that you have not made use of this thing, this message. Can you see? Message is declared, but its value is never used. Okay. Now we will make use of that message. Now, can you see that the line is gone? Great. And if you notice that when I saved it, the arrangement changed. That is because of Prettier. Prettier automatically sets it into a format and style that is beautiful. We have less than 15 minutes for this class, so we'll need to really hasten up. However, you can always come back to replay it. Okay. Now, inside that function greet, we now have another function called name. We now have another function. After that one, we have another function called function name. So let's go ahead and do function name. Okay. So for this main, sorry, I wanted to write main. Okay. For this main, there's so many ways we can do it. I am intentionally interchanging the view so you can follow along with me as I'm typing it. So we need to get the name from the process argument. Okay, so we have, you can do this, which will prompt you to type it. We can also do something like this directly in the code. So let us try this style first so you will understand. Prompt is used to call attention. Like you want the person to type something. So let's first of all use this so you understand it. Okay. Now we have the functions. Then we need to call it. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and call greets. Sean. The reason why we are doing this, if we do this exactly, what does it mean? It means that we want to pass in that name. However, we're not going to pass in that name. We're going to call greet the main direction. So let's call main. Okay? So we're supposed to call main. So when we call main, what happens? Main will tell you to prompt your name, and then it will pass the name on to greet. Okay. Now, how do we run it? This is how you run it. In our case, we did not configure this main to call in the argument. We are using a prompt. So let's go ahead and try to type it. Node app.js. Oh, what did it say? It said prompt is not defined. Okay. So, can anybody see this error on the screen? My code is in small letters. I have tried increasing this font. Let me try increasing it further. Or if I increase it more than this, it will not work. Okay. Can anybody see my screen now? It is in small letters. Just follow through, don't worry. Now, when you come across errors like this, you might want to check the terminal to see what the issue is. And that is where we can make use of our debugger. You can put your debugger on your left part. You will see that red dot here where you can click it. Okay. Now, if you try to run and click start debugging, what happens? It tells you to select a debugger. You select it and then it starts running. Once it gets here, it will pause for you to have a look at what the issue is. Okay. You can always replay, rewind, and do a lot of things with it. You can select more than one debugger as well. Okay. Now let's go back to our code. Where we are using the process.argument. Or we can now use a substitute. Okay. Okay, so here we have what? Constant name. Then we can have this. Can you see? The lint has told me that I spelled it wrongly. So these are the things that you can do that will help you. All right. Let's save now. When we did debugging, it showed our debug console. So we have to go right back here and click on the 3 additional points to get our terminal back. And we can click clear for this and do this. Can you see that once you do it right, you get it right? Please note that there is a bracket after this console here. It was removed basically for that error to be fixed so we can debug. That's the essence of that remover. Remember, after the console.log message, there is a bracket, closing bracket here. Okay. And then you call the main function. You call the main function. Here is the functioning code. You call the main function right here. Control B will remove that sidebar for you. Control B will remove, or Command B, either Control B on Windows or Command B will remove that sidebar for you. Okay. And now that we have this, now this code says if you have a third argument, remember that coding language, it starts with what? 0. It doesn't start from 1. Okay, so the 0, 1 is node. The first one is app.js, and then the next one will be what? The name that you want. Let me use Faith. If I type it, what does it bring? Hello, Faith. We have just written a simple file. You've just written your first script. Isn't that interesting? Okay, now, once you have that, you can always have a response. Remember, we have done all this one where we debugged. Let me take you through it again just one more time. Where we click here for the breakpoint. You can click anywhere you like. I can click this console, right? And then I come here, run, start debugging. If you are running it for the first time, it will tell you to select node. If not, it will tell you what? Can you see that it stopped? It stopped right here. It stopped right there. I can decide to do what? Stop it right here and then play. It will come here. Can you see? It will come and console hit there. So that is the essence of this whole debug. And when you are debugging, you will find it in your debug console. It's not going to be in your terminal, it will be in your debug console. Okay. And you can always click this three dot beside to go back to your terminal. You can click the stop, you can click replay to get to know where the issue occurred. And that was why we started with what? With error. So you can see how it goes. We have 3 minutes more to the end of the class. And so, do we have any questions so far? Take your time and go through the class, and don't worry, follow your own pace. Okay? Follow your own pace. We have all been through it. But once you know it, you will realize that it's not as hard as you think. But initially, it's going to take a lot of effort. Okay? The next class we'll be having is programming language essentials with TypeScript. You know, today we did JavaScript. Okay? We're going to have an interesting class on programming language essentials with TypeScript. I will advise that you go through, just type Google TypeScript and just read through and try to understand what it entails. Once you have Node, you're good with TypeScript, you're good. Instead of we doing app.js, you do .ts file, and then you have some interface, some types. So next class is going to be interesting. I will advise you go through this video again, rewatch, pause, and play, and check it and understand explicitly, because the higher we go, the tougher it becomes, interestingly. And yes, someone said I would suggest a step-by-step approach. Exactly. Edith said it was yes. So take it step by step, pause it, play it, rewind, follow your own pace. But remember to understand this class before the next class, because it is a building block. We build on what you learned on the previous class, right? And then we're gonna build on this on the next class. Okay. Please study your TypeScript before coming to class. Thank you, Michael. Michael said you should study. Yes, I advise you study. And all you have to do is just go to Google. It's very simple. And just type TypeScript. You can see the playground, you can see documentation, you can see utility types, you can see so many things there. Just go ahead and just study it. And then it will make it easier for you. Thank you, everyone, and do have a great day if there's no other question. LTS is not a library, it's like a stable version, So they always have better version, but stable version. So LTS is like the latest stable version of Node, of anything, right? So that if you have any issue, they've tested it, it works fine with so many npm apps. So yeah, so that is why they call it LTS. So it is not a library, it is just a version. And that's why we have nvm use LTS, nvm use 20, which is node 20, etc. Thank you very much, and that is the end of today's class. Do have a lovely day. Bye bye.